Hey, as I'm saying, happy Friday. Thanks for being here today. If you're not subscribed, please take a moment out of your day to click the subscribe button, which is free and absolutely does help support this channel. So let's talk about this Ryleigh Cooper character who is a Trump voter who's making the rounds. She was on CNN last night. The Washington Post did an entire article, an expose, a feature where they profiled her. I'm not sure exactly what they would call it. And this is a Trump voter who voted for Donald Trump for a singular issue because he promised IVF would be free. And she just lost her job with the Forest Service. I want to be a good and decent person who is imbued with empathy, and I want to encourage people to have empathy for others. But if you're asking me to conjure empathy for someone's lack of empathy, I have a hard time with that. There's an element with these people who are now absolutely regretting their vote for Donald Trump because now they're being harmed. The leopard is now eating the face of the people who voted for the leopard, and they're like, what? What do you mean a leopard is eating my face? We have stickers of that, by the way. And that bothers me. I have a hard time conjuring the empathy, the sympathy for these people. Are they stupid? Are they naive? Or do they just lack empathy for others in the human condition? I don't know. But this tweet came to mind, and this is not to extricate her from blame. This is not to remove accountability for this adult who voted for Donald Trump and is now being harmed by his policies. And in fact, the thing that he promised that caused her that animated her to vote for him isn't going to happen because he lied, because he's a liar. But we know he's a liar. We've seen Donald Trump for years. We know the character of Donald Trump. And if you don't know by now, you're either stupid, naive, or you just lack empathy, or some unholy amalgam of all those things. But I saw this post on Blue Sky from a guy named Nicholas Grossman who said, how could that Trump voter have believed electing him would make IVF free? She must have been into fringy alternative media, maybe saw it from some influencer. Professional media outlet would never be. Oh no. And then he included these particular screenshots. This is from the New York Times. Trump called for IVF to be free. How would that work? Getting the expensive fertility treatments covered would be possible, but an uphill battle, health policy experts said. From CNN, Trump proposes making government or insurance companies pay for IVF treatments. Here from, I believe, the Washington Post, Trump says he wants to cover IVF costs as president. And then finally, NBC News, Trump says he wants to make IVF treatments paid for by government or insurance companies if elected. In an interview with NBC News, the former president defended himself over abortion rights and said either the government or insurance companies would pay if he's elected. You mean to tell me that Donald Trump made a wild promise that is not being upheld? That he lied during the campaign in order to secure the votes of either stupid or naive or people who lack empathy? Who would have known that? The media helped in this. They missed the moment. I don't know how many times I said that phrase during the campaign. They're missing the moment. They're still missing the moment. They're dropping the fucking ball on a daily basis. They are marching us to our demise, the demise of our republic, into fascism, gleefully. I'm going to read just a brief thing from this Washington Post article to give you a flavor for what this is. And then I'm going to play like a 3-minute segment from the CNN interview to really drive home what I'm talking about here. And really, I don't know what the thesis of this video is. So if you're looking for a thesis, maybe click off, but let's come to a thesis together. I don't know if this is about the stupidity, lack of empathy, or naivete. I don't know if it's about that. I don't know if it's about the complicity of the mainstream corporate legacy media. I don't know if it's maybe to help other Trump voters wake up to what they did to us, what they've foisted upon the American people, what they foisted on to tens of millions of people who aren't citizens who live here. The lack of empathy. Anyway, here's the headline from the Washington Post. I'm going to put this below. You read this entire profile of her. I would really implore you to do so. And then we'll get to the clip. This is the headline. She hoped Trump's victory would change her life, but not like this. Ryleigh Cooper is normally more focused on motherhood than politics. Then came Doge. Not then came Doge. Then came Donald Trump in office. Don't blame this on Doge. Don't put this on Elon Musk. Certainly they are to blame, but the overarching character that put Doge into motion, that gave Elon Musk power, is Donald Trump. They're fucking it up still. The Washington Post. 4 days after Donald Trump fired her, Cooper was in bed with her husband. She picked up her phone and saw the news. There was a new executive order to expand access to IVF. She read the White House fact sheet, which talked about Trump's request for policy recommendations to reduce the cost of the service. But it still wasn't free, and she was out of a job and out of a plan. Delivering on promises for American families, read the White House's announcement. That's bullshit, she recalled thinking, and put down her phone. It's bullshit because his executive order did not make it free. It was this feckless milquetoast signaling that, oh, we're going to look into it. We're very concerned about this. Let's do some research and find out how this impacts people. It's a lie. It's a distraction. He's not going to carry through, just like he didn't carry through with just about any promise during other than tax cuts for the uber wealthy, the immorally wealthy. Anyway, she was on Ryleigh Cooper. Again, whether she's stupid or naive or no empathy, you can decide, but here it is. Roughly 3 minutes, maybe a little longer, with Laura Coates from CNN last night. And let me tell you, pretty impressed with how Laura Coates comported herself. I believe, I don't know Laura, never met Laura, and I'm just basing this on my experience and knowing people as well, or as not as well as I do, but watching, it looks like she's really doing the good work of acting as though she's so, it's a term I only know because my wife is a therapist, a marriage and family therapist, licensed clinical marriage and family therapist, but it's a therapeutic wonderment where you know the answer to the question and you so are you saying that blah, blah, blah? And to get them to talk about it, to come to grips with it. And that's really what Laura Coates does here. It's like, so to get her to talk. Great, fantastic job by Laura Coates, who needs a better time slot, by the way. She needs a prime time slot, not the middle of the night. Watch this with Ryleigh Cooper, and you decide for yourself whether she's stupid, naive, or lacks empathy.
Ryleigh Cooper joins me now. Ryleigh, welcome. Thank you for sharing your story. And I wonder, what was it like for you when you got the news that you were being let go?
It was really hard. I was on the phone with my best friend, Kaylee, at the time, and we were just discussing her life and how things were going. And I looked at my phone and I had gotten a text from our union rep, and he told me that I was going to be fired the next day. And I told her, I have to go. I'm getting fired tomorrow. And my heart just sank.
I'm so sorry this is happening, and the frustration you must be feeling, and perhaps anxiety about what's next. And of course, we're hearing a lot about, following the campaign and the elections, about the mandate that people wanted to see a streamlined government, that they want to be able to right-size it in some way and rid of waste and fraud. That was not the motivating reason you were voting for President Trump. Does that impact the way you see any of this?
Yeah, it's hard from my perspective to approach the current administration with hope. I've been dealing with infertility now for about a year. I've had multiple surgeries in my life. So, going into the voting booth, the main thing on my mind was the same thing I'd been thinking about for the past 11 months. And it was, I want to be a mom. And women who have gone through that experience, that heartbreaking feeling of wanting something that you might never have, they understand how much of your time is taken up with those thoughts and how overwhelming and lonely it can feel. So as someone who is more of a swing voter, sometimes that's what it comes down to, is those single issues. Because when you step into the voting booth, you're thinking of what's important to you and like the issues that are resonating with you in that moment. And for me in that moment, like it took me a while, and I made a decision that looking back, I'm not proud of, but it's the reality of my situation now.
Yes, it is. It is the reality of your situation now, Ryleigh. Because now you don't have free IVF and you don't have a job to help pay for the IVF that is not free. Because you made a decision based on you. You let your desire for a child, which is a noble, decent idea, but you let that cloud your judgment about the damage that would be done to hundreds of millions of Americans. Your one issue, free IVF. Not that you wouldn't be able to have it without Trump as president, but that it would be free for you. You let that inform your decision, and you voted for a fucking fascist. And you lost your job because of, in part because of, your vote for that guy. You should regret your vote. Now, again, I'm a little different. I have a hard time conjuring empathy for people who lack empathy. And it seems to me pretty clear that she might be all three of the things: stupid, naive, and lacking of empathy. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm being harsh. Maybe I'm still emotionally raw from the election and from Donald Trump being our president. I know that that is to be the fact. I know that to be the case. I wake up all the time. I'm having to implement no politics after a certain hour around here because it's just too much. I'd love your opinion on this, though. What do you think? Comment below. You can click the comment button and talk to your heart's content. I'm sure we can disagree agreeably. Tell me if you disagree with me, or if you agree. You can call the voicemail line 714-576-4054. Of course, you can email me, as always, daily@dollemore.com. I want to hear from you on this. And really, I don't mind criticism. If I'm being too harsh, let me know. Let me know. If you want to help support my work in independent media, I would appreciate it. You can click the join button below. For $1.99 a month, you can become a channel member and help support this work. Help me reach the millions and millions of people that I do every month. I would appreciate it very much. You can also go to patreon.com/IDoubtItPodcast. Great way to help support this work. And I'll see you next time. Be genuine. Have some empathy. Take care of one another.